Each week we bring you all of the latest film news.
From interviews with filmmakers and actors to the new cinema releases.
When I touched this pen, I saw this place. Someplace amazing. And it felt like anything was possible. And then it was gone.
Hello and welcome to Arts Alive Film. My name's Tony Lindsay.
And I'm Tony Lloyd, and this is coming from the Odeon, Liverpool 1.
We've been away for the last 2 weeks, so we've been very busy catching up with what's on the screens.
Working very hard.
Well, what the heck?
Oh, I had a tremor then. Just use the expression.
Anyway, moving on. Tomorrowland is our first movie.
Tomorrowland, yeah. What did you think of Tomorrowland?
Written and directed by Brad Bird with a little help from Damon Lindelof.
Good director.
Good director. The writer is from TV's Lost. Don't you
Explains a
remember that?
lot.
Explains a lot, yeah. We kind of got lost a little bit in this one.
We really did.
This is a Disney production. We're not quite sure, therefore, where the audience is for this.
I mean, its backstory is typical Disney. You know, the dreamer is the important one.
Yeah, indeed.
But I just didn't know what was going on.
No,
really.
We've got George Clooney as ex-child genius Frank, who's now gone into hiding and who is sought out by Britt Robertson as Casey Newton, a child's science enthusiast. And the plot kind of revolves around this parallel world.
This parallel world of Tomorrowland.
Which was based on Disney's own Epcot.
Yes.
Apparently it was called something like 1958, the original title of this movie, because it harks back to Disney's vision for a happier, brighter future. And
when it hits those marks about, you know, having hope and not losing hope, which is kind of at the core of is it?
Yeah. It's a Disney.
When it hits that, it's quite nice and you kind of get it.
And there's a kind of a 1950s verve going on here, isn't there?
Which is good. Jetpacks,
etc. And you've got Hugh Laurie in there as David Nix, the leader of this strange parallel universe. But I mean, I think you need a degree in quantum physics at one point, don't you?
Yeah. Ultimately, for me, it was just confused. There's a lot of good stuff going on in there, but it was kind of. We were saying the edit structure seems the wrong way round.
The third act, there's no third act really to speak of. It builds up to nothing, to a lot of talk.
What you assumed anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
Or began to guess. Yeah. I mean, if you're a fan of George Clooney,
George Clooney's great. He's the one thing that kind of holds it together.
Yeah.
But this is reminiscent of those 1979, 80s Disney movies that didn't quite move.
Yeah.
Something Wicked This Way Comes, Tron.
Yeah.
The Black Hole.
Interesting, but they didn't grab it completely, did they?
But you know, a bit confused about this for the kids.
I think the kids will struggle with this one.
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Hang on.
You wanted to see Tomorrowland. Here it comes.
Okay, so next up is Sam Raimi produced Scarefest, or is it? Poltergeist. What did we think?
Yeah, I liked it. I did like it. This is a remake of the 1982 Tobe Hooper Spielberg epic.
Influenced epic.
Yeah, which is the first movie I took my wife to see. So this has a bit of a soft spot.
You romantic
Yeah, indeed.
fool.
Different though. Same story.
Yeah, we've talked about this, didn't we? You know, you have obviously with the Spielberg influenced 82, was it?
82,
film. It was very stylised, you know, Industrial Light Magic.
They threw everything but the kitchen sink at it.
Exactly, so there's light orbs and lights everywhere.
But this is all CGI now. But it works well. It works to the advantage of the story. David Lindsay Aber did the screenplay, directed by Gil Keenan.
Yeah, Gil Keenan did an okay job. He did a good job.
But in lead man duties at last, Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
The great Sam Rockwell as the dad.
Improvising
Eric.
like mad, it looked like.
Superb.
But doing really well as well. And that's what we were talking about, wasn't it? As well as the family of Tobe Hoopers. It was very stylised, wasn't it? The family dog, the typical American unit. This is a different kettle of fish, much more naturalistic.
Well, praise to Kennedy Clements as the youngest of the girl who gets the daughter who gets possessed and taken through into the netherworld.
There's a little bit of a likeness to Heather O'Rourke.
There is, yeah, but hopefully not too much.
Yeah, but I like the boy as well. I thought the boy was great.
I thought the children here could show the kids in Tomorrowland a thing or two.
Absolutely.
As Tony says, very naturalistic acting, plays well. And then, of course, we've got Jared Harris as the ghost hunter extraordinaire, who's absolutely brilliant.
And the original movie is referenced. It's a strange one, really. They talk, a neighbour, they go to a dinner party and a neighbour talks about trouble.
Yeah,
a couple had in the 80s, didn't
so
they?
It's it almost plays as a sequel at times. But I do think there's another half an hour missing. It runs to about 92 minutes. There's another half an hour and a darker film.
And despite it being Sam Raimi produced, anyone expecting something along the horror of Drag Me to Hell or anything like that,
you're not going to get it. But it could. I think it could go darker. This one.
Anyone with aversion to clowns is still going to be a little bit scared.
Yeah, indeed. But I did want it to go a little darker. But I did enjoy it.
Yeah. I did enjoy it too. I think it's worth it. If you're a horror fan, you should see it.
Yes? Something's wrong, Mom.
Well, that's it for part one.
Yeah, what's in part two, Tony?
In part two, we have our third film review, plus a behind-the-scenes look at a new dance movie.
Are you hurt?
Hello and welcome back to the Odeon Liverpool 1 and the third of our films this week, San Andreas.
San Andreas.
Did the earth move for you?
No.
No, not really. Me neither. Great visual effects.
Oh my God! Now it is photoreal CGI. I mean,
superb.
Unparalleled. You know, you look at the Roland Emmerich canon, a guilty pleasure for me.
Toby Emmerich's got a finger in the pie here. He's producing.
I mean, first and foremost, before we get started, I suppose, we're both fans of apocalyptic cinema.
Oh, the disaster movie,
Yeah, you know, right from where, what was
70s,
our ones?
Poseidon Adventure, Tower Inferno.
How could you not love all those? Charlton Heston.
Yeah, I mean, they were great. We both really are fans of them. But what this didn't have what they did have, with the 4 or 5 different stories running throughout and the great top cast. I mean, you were talking in those days, Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, William Holden, Faye Dunaway, Gene Hackman, Ernest
Chamberlain.
The great Richard Chamberlain.
Nasty Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah, being very unducted.
But in this...
Dwayne Johnson.
The thing is, there's just nothing in the way of the script invested for them. Cliche after cliche.
I blame you, Carlton Cuse. You wrote the bloody thing.
You know, one of the main things that a lot of screenwriters say, well, you can back this up, coincidence doesn't really work well in movies, and this is a film.
Yeah.
How many coincidences are in it?
No, absolutely.
That are pivotal to survival.
Well, everybody's trying to get out to San Francisco. Dwayne and his wife, played by Carla...
She's good.
Gugino. They're trying to get back in, and they do it without any real difficulty.
Problem.
They steal boats, planes, they parachute in, cars. It's just it's ridiculous.
When they've got a boat going round, you only see one small rescue boat. You know, you would have thought there'd been. It seems like devoid of actual people, considering the thousands.
There's no actual emotional, dramatic beats in there. You've got Kylie Minogue.
Turns up for about 14 seconds.
14 seconds. Alexandra Daddario is Blake, the daughter. She's quite good.
Right.
She's okay, not bad. But the director is Brad Payton. Now, I looked up his back catalogue. He directed Revenge of Kitty Galore, the cats and dogs thing, and Journey to Mysterious Island. Michael Caine a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not a great classic
I mean, he
cinema
handles the action and the CGI work.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he wouldn't be doing that himself. That's his special effects team. But obviously, he's got a hand in how that... And that's done really well. I mean, as I say, you know, if you want to see destruction, this is the film to see.
But as you say, Toby Emmerich's involved, so it's a kind of 2014 stroke, the day after tomorrow, Independence Day. It's that kind of vibe.
But you know, you would think that would just carry it, but it doesn't.
No, it really doesn't.
Because it just as you get into the moment with the drama, they say things and do things which
the dialogue's appalling.
Yeah. I mean, and the end... The actual end is the equivalent of you know, if you've gone through trauma and a friend comes round, they either tell you what you want to hear, or they tell you the truth, and the film tells us what we want to hear, or they think we want to hear, and it's not.
Yeah, not a good ending.
Not a good ending.
But
Tony, actually, we were having a joke. You spoke. I gave the second guessed all about a third of the lines. Well, we both all the way through, but you got the end.
Yeah. But
I mean, if you're into destruction, if you're into the, you know, Day After Tomorrow's 2012,
it might be one for you.
It might be one for you, but don't expect to be challenged in the brain area.
Yeah.
You know.
Turn them off for 90 minutes.
It will feel like you've been hit by a bit of masonry at the end of it.
Yeah.
God be with you. All right, hold on. We gotta get over it before Crest.
Well, that's it for this week where our film reviews are concerned.
So what's up next?
Coming up now, a preview, a behind-the-scenes look even, at a new dance movie by Michelle Richards.
Fluid Structures. Have a look at this.
My name is Michelle Richards and we're here today to film a dance for Bay TV which is called Fluid Structures. The theme of the dance is around fluidity and structure. It's about how opposites learn to cooperate since you need balance in all areas of your life. The idea came from observations I had when I was a lot younger, and it was about what I was seeing around me in terms of gender structures, and that the dance is about opposites, and obviously we have opposites in men and women, and in each person we've got like a masculine side and a feminine side. And I was thinking, in order for us to sort of function fully, we need both of those sides of us to operate properly. But what I saw when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s was that people were challenging traditional gender roles. There was this idea of ladettes, which were women that were meant to behave more like men, and men were being challenged for not showing their softer side. The characters in the play are a man and a woman, and they both represent different things. The male represents structure and the woman represents fluidity. And throughout the dance piece you can see them sort of having to come to terms with each other. They challenge each other quite a lot. They can't get used to each other's natures, but eventually they learn to interact with each other and move together and find the benefits from each other. It wasn't intended to be a dance, it was just a piece of writing, and every time I read it I could see movement and then thought, oh, maybe just go for it. So you can have an idea, but it's like the fluidity and structure. Ideas are all fluid and then you need a structure, something to do with it. And I advertised for some dancers, and I was so lucky to get a woman called Frankie who was really open to sort of working with the text and really easy to work with and really helpful to work with, given that I hadn't done this before. She brought on board a lad called Martin, and they worked so beautifully together. I wasn't really sure exactly how it was going to work, because I ended up in the role of the choreographer, which I haven't done before, but it's almost like just reading their movements. We sort of managed to create a storyline which I think works really well. They're very good at just improvising with each other, and it's really beautiful to watch, and it's really inspiring, so it's like the whole thing's evolved very organically in that sense.
I'm Frankie Phoenix, and I've met Michelle through an introduction through Art in Liverpool about this dance video that we're working on today. We met and we talked about the concept and the spoken word that she composed, and we worked on the movements that we would put together with the two characters, and I managed to source a friend Martin to be my other dance partner in this, and just threw ourselves headlong into rehearsals. I'm really excited about what we're doing here today.
Hello, my name's Martin. I'm here for Fluid Structures. I've been rehearsing with Frankie and Michelle for about 4 months now, and we've been working with devised structures and also improvised structures to make the film that we're making today. I am a dancer in it along with Frankie, and we've been working to make the movement and kind of develop the structure, the qualities that Michelle's wanting to get from the spoken word piece. And it's been great.
It's been great. Isn't it awesome?
So rehearsals were really good fun. We just had the freedom to just work through bit by bit, blocking out each scene, and just working with different styles of movement and different contrasting roles between the masculine and the feminine. Luckily I've danced with Martin before through other workshops, so it's really nice to find a really nice connection together, and yeah, just really came together quite naturally and quite spontaneously.
Again, looking forward to the process today. Working with the cameras, that's something that I haven't really worked with before, so it's going to be interesting working with that and watching how everything works. I guess if anything I'm working out what's going on, which is great, but also in a playful and interactive way.
What are you finding different about performing on stage and being in front of the camera?
Stage, you have a live audience, and I tend to feed off them a lot more. I tend to use a lot of comedy timing, and the laughs and the reactions from the audience usually seem to boost me more. So this is going to be an interesting process as well, and also me not making stupid faces if I do go wrong, because I do go wrong, but making sure that I don't go in the middle of it.
It was the first time I have been filmed doing any dance, which is really really sort of exciting and a little bit scary, if I'm honest. But that's been my favourite thing that I've achieved out of it. I'm just going to take a very relaxed approach and just enjoy it, because it's a real pleasure to be asked to do it. It's been a lot of fun throughout the rehearsal process, and I'm just really excited to get a really good finished result, and just be really true to all the hard work we put in, and just can't wait to see it on the other side, because there's everything else that's coming after this. Today we've got the music, we'll have the words as well, so it's all so far just being kind of in the ether. We know they're going to be there in the end results, so I'm just excited to see it all come together.
In terms of the background music, we won't have any today, because we're going to have an improvised improvised music score, added to the film at a later date. Phil Morton from Improvisers Network is going to coordinate some improvised music, or some musicians that are going to do some improvisation. So Phil Morton from Liverpool Improvisers Network is going to coordinate some musicians that will do an improvised score. Really looking forward to that, especially as I remember the other day that he's also quite into contemporary dance himself, and now my thoughts around that dance, that maybe we could use the musicians to sort of as part of the dance, given that for some instruments it is quite restricted, structured movements, and others are quite fluid, so I think that will really add to it.
What would be the ideal situation like? How would you like people to react to the film when they see it? And
I'd like people to be inspired by the film. Ideally it's an art piece, so I'd quite like to see it in a gallery space.
Cool, and on Bay TV as well.
And on Bay TV, of course.
Well folks, that's it for this week.
Yeah, and remember, all the films that you've seen, that we've reviewed and showed you, are still on here, Liverpool Odeon 1, so get yourself down to our second home,
Odeon Liverpool 1.
and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
What's coming up in part 2, Tony?
In part 2 we have our third film, plus a behind the scenes.
A what?
What? I just don't know.
Aside the sea.
Who knows?
Are we going to the seaside?
Coming up, a little musical interlude, a behind the scenes look at Michelle Richards' new film.
You went behind?
A behind the scenes look at Michelle Richards' new film, premiered on Bay TV.
You've turned into Scatman John.